In New Jersey news, a wolf at the Lakota Wolf Preserve in Warren County died Saturday morning after being bitten by a rattlesnake. The wolf, named Cyrus, who is one of 15 that lived on the preserve, was not the first to get bitten by a rattlesnake. However, Cyrus is the first to die from the bite as its location near a major artery proved fatal. Finally, in Montclair news, petitions to run for the open seats of the Montclair Board of Education are due on Monday, July 25th. In order to run, a candidate must file a petition with 10 signatures to the county clerk by 4 p.m. There are 3 seats available, including both president and vice president positions, as both will expire in January of 2023. And for weather, currently up there in beautiful Montclair State, it is 81 degrees and sunny. Expect a high of 93 degrees and a low of 75 degrees with storms starting around 2 p.m. And that's all for the news today.
Well, Terry, thank you. That wraps up the morning buzz, everyone. Thank you for that's crazy that I wasn't expecting it to be rainy later today. That's unfortunate. Not a fan of that one.
Not a fan.
But hey, given the circumstances going on around the world, I almost wish that I could take the rain that's going on here and push it to Europe, because clearly they need some rain over there.
Push it to Europe.
They're struggling. And if you ever see like the imagery out of there, it's that's some scary stuff. And very quickly, speaking of that like whole thing, I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday it was trending. Like the movie Don't Look Up is because there's this somewhere in, I think, England, they had a meteorologist come on to talk about what's going on and like what he thinks the projections are for the heat and wildfires.
Right.
And so they have him on, he's talking, he's like, not to be that gloom and doom kind of guy, but it's only gonna get worse. And we're already at the point where like it's very bad and people are dying. And I expect mass casualties within like this next week kind of deal. And so then they turn to the hosts, the 2 hosts, and like, oh, come on, not weatherman, but pretty much that's what they're saying. They're like, come on, like, Jason, how dare you try to like bring down the mood over here? Like we want good weather, and like hot weather is nice for us in the summer. And that's like everyone was saying, it's like this scientist is bringing you all this factual information and you're just not interpreting it at all, and you're kind of just
that's so real, because this happens so much in our culture where people will try to bring society facts, whether it's medical advice, whether it's stuff about our climate and climate change and things like that. People don't want to accept what's going on, and I can't fathom that when people simultaneously argue that we need to fight for change and we really need to put our foot down and do what we can to make the world a better place. But people are kind of complacent and are kind of too comfortable in the fact that they don't feel like they're a part of the issue, or they don't feel like they can change anything. We're just like, okay, don't bring my mood down. There's nothing we can do. There's absolutely stuff that we could be doing right now to combat climate change, to combat literally any issue. But a lot of the time the response is like, put it on the back burner. And it shows for just lazy action. And then, like that weather person was saying, it gets worse. Everything is just going to get worse if we don't do anything. So it's a little scary stuff that's coming out right now.
It definitely is, man. It's crazy. So, sports yesterday was probably one of the slowest sports day in, at least for United States, ever, because there's nothing going on right now. We're in the middle of the summer. NBA not happening. NHL not happening. NFL not happening. MLS is on the weekends. And baseball had their all-star break, so no game as well yesterday. So, it is what it is, but we have some interesting developments regardless in the sports world. And first, we will start off with by far the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life. So, University of Kentucky quarterback Will Levis shared a video of an interesting pairing. And I will say, this pairing is disgusting. It is borderline terrorism. And it is downright... he likes to pair his coffee with mayonnaise.
No.
And yes, he actually drank it. That's his thing. And it was so disturbing. So he has his black coffee. He's like, and this is what I do. I get like 2 1 scoop, 2 scoop, puts like 3 scoops of mayonnaise into it, and then like he's mixing it. But you know how mayonnaise is kind of like a thick thing, so
Yeah.
it doesn't just melt like instantly. So it's like curdling almost like inside his coffee cup, and I'm just like, oh, don't drink it, don't drink it, don't drink it, because I think it's a joke. Homie downs it. He's like, yep,
What?
I love that flavor, and I'm just sitting there like, what about that is appealing? What?
America runs on Dunkin'.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's just
Yeah.
atrocious. And as a sometimes coffee drinker, I get clowned for having a bunch of cream and sugar in my coffee.
Oh, you're one of those people, Terry.
Yeah, but I'm not one
Mm.
of those people who's put mayo in the coffee.
Yeah,
You
that's
want
fair. That's fair.
That's fair. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
we've
yeah.
hit a new low to where the point I really feel like like I accept it. I know that my palate is probably not that advanced.
Mhm.
It's giving child, but I don't want
Wow.
to. It's giving child. I mean, children don't drink coffee. I hope, but
I did.
that makes sense. Anyways, I just don't want to chew my coffee.
Yeah, and then just like the texture of like a glob of mayonnaise. Like I
It's
like mayonnaise.
mayo.
I like mayo. I've
That
never once thought in my life to put mayonnaise inside of my coffee.
Yeah, I just feel like that's not something normal people think about. Like, sorry, dude. It's just strange. I just want to know this backstory of how he
Mm.
discovered this. Was he eating a burger and had a cup of coffee and then like mayo just fell in there? Or
Mm.
like you
Mm.
accidentally go for the mayo as opposed to creamer? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I think he was probably just on the adult grass maybe one day and
Mm.
decided this seems like a cool parent because there's no logical human being that's gonna do that.
Yeah, I think he really shook up the world doing this right now. I don't feel like
Mm,
there's a place on this earth for
absolutely
coffee
not.
and mayo, and I'm hurting for the
Mm.
avid coffee drinkers, the coffee connoisseurs, and the Starbucks hipsters out there who are, and the Isaias who runs on Dunkin'.
Hey, I will say I reuse my plastic cups. This is Isaiah's home concoction.
Wow.
Yep, saving the planet. This guy. Uh
We'll
listen,
be okay after all.
that was insane, but we still have some more developments in the sports world. Yes,
Tell me
sir.
more.
The United States MLS teams played some European clubs yesterday as well, and surprisingly, the MLS won a couple of games, which is unheard of. So first, let's talk about the L's we took. So Bayern took on DC United, and the score was 6-2 in favor of Bayern. Then our Minnesota team will just be known as Minnesota for now because I don't know what that logo is. They took on Everton and they won 4-0. Then Orlando took on Arsenal and they lost 1-3. And Charlotte, a brand new team to the MLS, beats Chelsea 5-3 on penalties. What an exciting time to be alive. And San Jose tied with Celta Vigo. I don't know where they're from, but it makes me want to eat some spaghetti. And lastly, we're gonna talk some golf. Yes, sir, everyone. Everyone's favorite sport. Henrik Stenson has been stripped of his European Ryder Cup captaincy in advance of an expected move to the Live Golf Tour. Ryder Cup Europe announced the move with, quotes, immediate effect this morning. And by this morning, I mean yesterday morning. Regardless, very quickly, I don't know if you're familiar with this, Terry, but Live Golf is a Saudi-backed golf league.
Okay.
And then to give you more context, most players play for the PGA Tour, which is kind of like I think an American-run organization.
Mhm.
Within the PGA Tour, there's no guaranteed contracts, so you actually have to perform well enough to win like money and make a career or like
Right.
endorsement deals and all this stuff. So the difference between that and this, Live Golf is promising like players guaranteed contracts. So a lot of people are leaving the PGA to go to the Live Golf Tour. Now, where it gets
Oh.
interesting is the public perception to this and a lot of media perception to this, because they are saying, well, how dare these players take that blood money? Meanwhile, not to get into like crazy things or not, these are the same people that have an iPhone, that play the golf game, PGA golf. I don't know if you know this, but they have like a 1 point something $1 million deal with a Saudi Arabian backed thing. So I don't
Woo.
know. I feel like they, and then, they probably are on Twitter, which is heavily invested from Saudi Arabia. They probably get a lot of gas, Phillips. There's a lot of companies that are Saudi Arabian backed. So I don't know why like this is like the moral draw point where it's like, God forbid these players get their guaranteed money or something. It's very confusing to me. It's very weird. They probably also watch the Disney products, I would imagine too. So it's weird to me that they draw the line of players getting more money, but they'll consume all these other things going on, that are clearly
Yeah.
backed by Saudi Arabia. Um, I'm gonna say if someone's getting the bag, I'm not gonna judge them for getting the bag. Like,
You're always saying that.
exactly. No, listen to, like, this is the weird part to me. If someone, and people are like, I would never do it, but if someone said, I'm gonna give you $110 million guaranteed, fully promised, like as soon as you join us, it's in your bank account. All you got to do is play 4 golf events throughout the year. I'm gonna take that.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Compared to like, all right, if you're in this league, yeah, you get the prestigious honor of being in this league that's been around forever. But nothing's guaranteed. Of course, I'm gonna take the money.
Yeah, and I feel like people make it too big of a deal of like if you're gonna say, oh, if you're taking that blood money, and like you were saying, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors with the things that you consume daily.
You gotta be about it. Like you're going to Starbucks, you're getting
Seriously.
your coffee. Excuse me, I don't know if you know this, a knock on your door, but Starbucks has gotten some money from Saudi Arabia, Amazon as well, the WWE as well. So I mean, like, why is this a moral conundrum here? That like,
Yeah.
God forbid a golf player gets his bag.
Yeah, I
Also,
don't get
who's
that.
watching golf? Ugh,
Let's
so
really
many.
be real.
Yeah, I can't watch golf and baseball. Ugh,
Boring.
ugh.
Sorry.
It's like, sheesh. I don't
Like
know, man.
do something.
Exactly. Anyways, we have
But
like 1 to 2 serious things to talk about today.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna take it to Indiana. No one's favorite state. Let's be honest. Have you ever been to Indiana, Terry?
No, I
It's
haven't.
terrible, and I wish I never have to go back.
What did you do in Indiana?
Exactly.
I'm so
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah, I had family that lived there, and we had to go visit them. And when I left, I said, I never want to come back here.
Oh,
Yeah, like as
well,
soon as I got there, I was like, I hate it here.
just like, hey guys. All right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I'm a
go.
dip. I'm a dip.
So
Yeah,
y'all have a good day.
yeah. I don't know if it was like the not having an ocean thing nearby, but it's just like the vibe I got from that
Ugh.
land. Huh.
No,
Um,
not for us.
Nah.
But
But anyways, leaders of Indiana's Republican-dominated Senate yesterday proposed banning abortion with limited exceptions, a move that comes amid political firestorm over a 10-year-old rape victim who came to the state from neighboring Ohio to end her pregnancy. The proposal will be taken during special legislative session that is scheduled to begin next Monday, making Indiana one of the first Republican-run states to debate tighter abortion laws following the Supreme Court decision last month overturning Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court ruling is expected to lead to abortion bans in roughly half of the states. The Indiana proposal would allow exceptions to the ban, such as in cases of rape, incest, or protect a woman's life. Um, let's just talk about that very quickly because sometimes it's good to understand the opposing side to this conversation, but I feel like anyone that is pro not having access to abortions, pro-life is what they call it. My bad. Had a brain fart. Anyways,
mm,
I feel like it's almost a waste of time to understand their perspective at this point,
yeah,
because it's not really nonsensical. Because then you can it's just, to me, how can you explain being pro-life in a non-religious way?
you can't. It doesn't make
Exactly.
any sense because the
Yes.
same people who are claimed to be pro-life, it always stops once the child is born.
Hmm.
And then you never hear from those same people again about the foster care system, about adoption systems, about what happens to those kids in the system after they reach adulthood and the resources that we have for that. We talk about schools and school shootings. We don't talk about homelessness crises. It's just like it's purely off the fact that you let your religious beliefs dictate how you want our legislators to make and run our
Mm-hmm.
country, which doesn't make sense because if you still wanted to make the religious argument, you should be advocating for all these other issues in the world. And they're
Mm-mm.
not.
They're
They're
not.
really not. I see so many people. There's certain like clinics when I go through Philly, there's Planned Parenthood clinics that I've driven past to, and there's people outside protesting, harassing and berating women when they're trying to you don't even know if they're getting an abortion. They're just trying to utilize the resources of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
And these people who claim to be Christian, I'm going to say claim to be because no true Christian would act in this manner, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting there berating these people, making them feel awful about themselves, and you're not really trying to sit down and listen to them while you could be genuinely using your faith to help somebody out there.
No,
No.
no. I mean,
You
they use Christianity when it's convenient for them, and when they can make these ridiculous arguments of how can I have as much control as possible. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like most of these people, it's like, how can we control somebody else kind of deal. Um,
exactly.
and then this is I can't believe we're living in a time where this is going to be like a conversation about like states. How far are you going to limit abortions and how far are you gonna like this is ridiculous. Like I feel this is such a non-issue that was turned into an issue. I
I
thought we
agree.
are all in agreement as a country that everyone should have access to this right, whether it's for medical reasons, personal reasons, they don't want to have the kid, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't care what their reason is. They should have access to it because once again, I have no say of what somebody should do with their own body. I don't understand why that's a concept that's so hard to understand. Then again,
Yeah.
I'm also reminded of the fact that people couldn't even agree on the concept that Black lives mattered. Yeah, not even
Let's
like
really
we're
talk about it.
better
Like,
or like they're more like important, just mattered. So I mean, these are the same people that probably agree with that sentiment. They're like, first off, blue lives matter. Like, why do we have to do this game? This is insane. This is very much that area's kind of code, I guess, where it's like they have these ideas that are very outdated, that seem to be very one-sided and in favor of one type of person. And if you're not doing the math, we talked about Mayo earlier. This is what we are. This is
yeah.
where we are. And it's weird that we have to kind of draw these lines. And it's more insane that this can bring up another conversation. It's just like, well, if you're a Republican, you have to be Republican. You have to agree with everything that a Republican does, when it really should be like, I could understand like their ideas there. No one should just blindly follow a party, but that seems to be where we are. This is just insanity. Mind you, you know what? I have something very quick to get off my chest as well. The other day, and I wish I was like on the show yesterday,
Mhm.
because they had voted whether or not to pass this law for gay marriage and interracial marriage.
Yes, we did talk about
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
yesterday.
My thing was like, all right, that seems pretty logical. Like everyone's gonna vote yeah, right? There are people that voted no against that.
That
Now, I ask these
yeah.
people, please explain to me, once again, in a non-religious way, because we are supposed to be a government that has like it's separate. Government and religion, separate things, right? So I want you, all the people that voted no, to explain why gay marriage shouldn't be allowed non-religiously, obviously. And then when you come to me with that explanation, I'm sure it'll be a whirlwind. Please explain to me why interracial marriage shouldn't be allowed. Thank you very much. Because
Yeah,
there's no logical argument where you can make where no one with a right mind is going to agree with that.
it just
It makes no sense.
and they do it so publicly and with such confidence and fervor where they just feel like nobody's gonna hold them accountable. But it's just we can see y'all.
Yeah,
voting
we
no.
know who's voting.
We know who's voting. And it's just like, are you not embarrassed? I guess not.
Nah.
But that's so, where, like, in what time period are we living to the fact that we have to even debate who people can marry? What
This is a
dystopia?
bizarre
We're
time
living
to
in a
be alive.
dystopia.
Yeah.
Seriously, full
E-
dystopia.
Every now and then I just think to myself, like, this isn't even like a joke. This is real stuff. This is actually happening right now.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what we were saying yesterday. It was just, I sometimes I really try to think, and it just doesn't feel real. It feels like I'm in a movie. Feels like I'm in a simulation, because just so many people, we think about these things, and it's just like, yeah, it makes sense for people to want to marry who they want to marry. Who cares?
yeah.
But then these old farts in office want to dictate who every little aspect of people's lives. It's just like,
Mhm.
can I ask why?
Yeah.
I don't get it. What's
I
the
just
How do you benefit or not benefit from these situations? You don't. We're just doing what we do, which is our living our lives. Who cares?
it's so confusing to me. It's
Yeah,
just ugh. Anyways, Terry, do you want to take the next story?
I think I do. I guess
Thank you.
water be crazy. Water
Yeah.
water be crazy. New Jersey American Water, the state's largest water company, asked customers in 7 counties this week to conserve water because of the ongoing heat wave in the state. Here we go with the it's starting to get worse thing. In
Uh,
addition to Monmouth and Ocean counties, which began an alternating watering schedule last week for lawns and gardens to ease water demand, Hunterdon, Mercer, Middlesex, Somerset, and Union counties were added to the list Wednesday, according to a statement from the company stating, quote, our systems are currently operating normally as expected capacity, but we are seeing a steep increase in demands across these counties, end quote. Practicing odd even watering now will help New Jersey American Water manage a finite supply of water, and its customers will still be able to maintain their lawns and gardens, quote, while saving money on their own water bills, end quote, the statement said. The the odd slash even guidelines are, I thought that's a D,
my bad, Terry. My bad. We're not perfect. All right.
the D&D, bring a D&D to the morning buzz.
Can I be the wizard?
No, you could be whatever dragon villain that just
Can I be
kind of,
Godzilla? That'd be sick.
yes, you can be Godzilla.
Yes.
Anyways,
Roar.
here are the guidelines, y'all. Outdoor water use and odd number days of the month if your street is an odd number. Outdoor water use on even number days if the month if your street address is an even number. Water early or late in the day to minimize evaporation. Exceptions include the following: watering of new sod or seed if daily watering is required, use of private wells for irrigation, commercial uses of outdoor water, such as for nurseries, farm stands, power washing, plumbing, athletic fields, and car washes, and watering of athletic fields. This is really interesting. I
Mm,
didn't know this was going on
yeah.
until today, which is kind of scary because of the heat wave that we have to be concerned about our water. And then you think about global warming and climate change and
Mm-hmm.
still being concerned
Mm-hmm.
about water. I'm a little scared, not gonna lie to you.
Once again, it's definitely a crazy time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
Very much a proponent for great weather. Hot weather is kind of my thing, but I always thought I'd have to move somewhere else to really achieve that. I didn't know it would be like this in New
Right
Jersey these
here
days.
at our door.
And the crazy part is people are like, climate change is not real, you idiots. Like, that's just what are you talking about? Regardless of those people,
A lot of nonsensical things
yeah.
happening in
Do
the
you know the
world
Earth
today.
was flat too?
Oh my God, no. You're
Yeah, yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
That's crazy.
But
Wow.
this is insane to the fact that you're gonna have to see, at least in New Jersey wise, that people are gonna have to start limiting their water in certain counties. I will say
Yeah.
that this is a not a new thing to me, at least, because in Puerto
Mm.
Rico, they can cut off your water at any time. And
Wow.
you might not have water for like weeks, like running water. And most people have big tanks that like when you do have water, you like they just fill up and then you're able to kind of survive on that should the water turn off, but eventually that runs out too. So
Yeah.
you
Oh
have to
my
be very
God.
careful with that. Just recently, I mentioned this the other day because we were having like a similar conversation. I didn't expect it to be in New Jersey, but last week my grandma was telling me that the water's been off for like a week. And that's just like a normal concept. And the same concept of water, electricity is another thing that could just turn off like that as well. So I think a lot of people now, it's like I've seen it happen, but a lot of people are like, well, now I don't know what to do, kind of thing. And I think it
Wow.
just goes to show that, like, when you start having these things that are finite, like the article mentioned, it's like that is something you have to take into account. Like, these things aren't forever. And you have alternatives, but there's really no alternative to water. Water
Yeah.
is or it isn't. Like, there's
We
no like
kind of need that,
water
y'all.
too. Like, when it comes to electricity, at least like you have other options, whether it's solar, wind, like there's different forms of energy that we can start creating, which is
Exactly.
why like in Puerto Rico, like you're seeing like a lot of companies try to put their efforts to make more solar panels for people and companies and all that stuff because the power grid
Right.
is so terrible. Um, but once again, that's a solution. There's no solution to this one. This is a crazy time to be alive. And then you can get into the conversation of like older generations being like, oh, this newer generation, like they're always just like
They're so
depressed,
soft.
they're so soft, like they don't have jobs, like all these things. It's like, this is
Exactly.
the world you created for us, man. Like, this is like, take some
Seriously.
accountability when it comes to this. Like, you guys were the ones that kind of put us in this situation. Um,
They never thought about the long term in that
no,
time because I'm not gonna knock the fact that the older generations didn't go through anything because they went through a lot. They went through world
no, they definitely
wars.
went through stuff. I'm
They
not
went
saying
through,
that.
yeah, they definitely went through stuff, but it's just the fact that they thought too much in the present to get through day
Mhm.
to day that all of their actions just it's all quite literally generational trauma just stemming further than your family. It's just a worldwide generational trauma at this point, to the point that now we're left with the pieces of what to recover from all of their mistakes. And
Mhm.
it's just that, and we get it thrown back in our face. And it doesn't make any sense because we're trying to fix everything.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. And on top of that, I don't know if this solution is going to be the best option in terms of preserving the water for, I guess, watering. I don't know. I just feel really weird of having the end all be all be watering your lawns on certain days and
I
things like
mean,
that.
there really isn't a solution to like water conservation. And like,
Yeah,
you either just turn it off or you leave it on. Like, that's really the only way to
that's
combat
true.
that, because you can say like, all right, guys, these are your guidelines, but how many people are really going to follow that?
Exactly. And on top of that, how many people take super long showers
Hmm.
or are just leaving the sink running when they're washing dishes and things like
Yeah.
that, or et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. I I don't know how big of an effect the lawn thing is gonna happen, but if we really want to have a conversation about the lawn things, grass lawns were never that great for the environment anyway, because they're not necessarily natural to a lot of our states' climates and things
Hmm.
like that. I read a thing where even like moss lawns are like a lot better for the environment because they're just self-sustaining. You don't really need to water them as
But
often.
they look ugly.
I think they look cute. I
No,
think
but
they
that's what
look
these
cute.
people are gonna say. It's like, you're telling me I work so hard on this lawn to maintain this beautiful green grass. Like, I'm doing my part. You're the one without a lawn. Like,
But I would really like to walk barefoot on the plushy moss. That's really
you
nice.
walking barefoot on moss?
It's squishy.
Nah, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Whatever.
I'm good on that.
Suit yourself, man. I think moss is beautiful. It's
Hey, on that note, we're gonna take a break here on the Morning Buzz. We're gonna play some things, and I think we'll even play a song. Who knows? But stay tuned. Keep it locked here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
And we are back here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. It's the Morning Buzz, Thursday, July 21st. Ladies and
Woo!
gentlemen, that was Nelly Just a Dream. Purely an iconic song. I think one of my favorite Nelly songs. I'll never forget though that he really made what is that song with Florida Georgia Line? No, what is that song? It's
Wait.
like, "When you're on my window." Oh, Cruise. That's what it's
Oh,
called.
yeah.
I had you muted. Sorry, Terry. My bad. My
It's
bad.
okay. What's unfortunate about being on Zoom is that I can never hear the music.
I know because Facebook will cancel us
I
on a
know. And I
dime.
know our metamites miss my dance moves. I used to hit them with it.
Hey,
What?
you'll be back one day in the studs.
You'll be back. Yeah. One
Yeah,
day.
One day.
I
One day
miss
it's
y'all.
on.
But let's get to it.
Yeah. Shall we just talk about the economy for a little? No, I'm kidding.
Okay, Jaden Smith.
No,
We talk about the economic state of the
we
world.
have to talk about that very quickly. That's a random thing to talk about, but I feel like it needs to be talked about. I can't stand human beings that are like that. They're the absolute worst. Oh my god.
When I heard the video of him saying that,
I thought it was a joke.
I
I thought it
really-
was a great
no,
joke.
you know what? I wished it was a joke, but like
Mhm.
it kind of made sense.
Yeah, it did.
And you know what, Jaden, you
What are
do what you
doing?
gotta do.
No, don't do what you gotta do. Jaden,
do what you
get
gotta
it
do.
together.
If he has friends that are like, yeah, let's talk about the state of the world right now.
They're enabling him so much.
I
Ugh.
know. Like
That is the absolute garbage pile.
he wants
right
to talk
there.
about the state of the world so he can save it with his water brand.
It's like all
you
my
know?
friends are just like playing Minecraft, and it's like I'm sitting here thinking, like, can we have like a bigger discussion about Minecraft? It's like they have all these programmers
God.
working on the game, and it's like, are they getting paid enough? We need to talk about, are they getting enough water throughout the day?
Yeah.
Speaking of water, I have this company. Like,
now that you mention it,
yeah.
it's just like,
Ugh.
oh my god, boring. Like, give me a break. I'm tired. I'm tired of celebrities wanting to talk about things and not actually doing
But
things.
it doesn't seem genuine
It
to me.
doesn't.
It
Oh my
seems
God.
so, like, if it's one thing, it's like it felt real, but it felt like, all right, like in order to get good PR, I should say these things.
Right. Like,
I just don't, that whole family, I got beef with, man. All of them.
Yeah.
Even Will right now. Like, Will, you get your stuff together. I used to like you, Will. I used to
yeah.
like worship you, Will. And then you do this.
Will's in the doghouse for sure.
Will's definitely in the dog. First off, leave Jada. That's a whole different discussion. I hate Jada Pinkett Smith. I hate you. I don't like you at all, man. You're doing my guy dirty.
Ooh,
Ugh.
he's getting heated.
Mm-mm-mm.
You need to go on Red Table Talk.
I know.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
A
Like,
nightmare.
all right, you can leave. Please leave. All right.
Security.
You know what, Terry? I'm gonna leave it to you. Do you want to try a new segment, or you just want to get some stories?
Let's try a new segment.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do
Listen,
the first one.
This is some unhelpful advice from us here at the Morning Buzz, because listen, sometimes it's like, how helpful is advice from two random college students?
That's so
Probably not
true.
entirely, but hey, we're gonna give you our best shot on how to solve your issues. So the first one comes from obviously the great place known as Reddit, and let's start it off. So I arrived from the States not too long ago for school, and I'm enjoying my newfound freedom. My parents are pretty traditional and conservative, so the first thing I did was get piercing tattoos, birth control, some other things, dyed my hair, traveled out of town. Well, for a few months now, my parents texted me and my sister at suspiciously inconvenient timings. Say I met someone, or my sister went to Vegas, or I conversed with her about some crazy topics, our parents would text us, respectively, to lecture or threaten us. And when I asked them how they knew certain details and information, they would pit us against each other. I knew from my sister's name, and to my sister, Jane told us. But my sister talked, and we have not snitched on each other. We know what our parents are like. Sometimes the details are a bit off, but oftentimes they're creepily right on the dot. My mother also got in touch with a psychic back home when me and my sisters left. But that sounds too unbelievable to me. Could they have bugged our place? How can I check? What should I do?
Oof. Now that's something that
Mm.
I don't really, that's really interesting.
Yeah. This is very interesting because I don't know what it's like to have like a very controlling parent like this.
Yeah, neither do I, which I guess we are both very fortunate to not have to experience. But part of me wants to say that it depends on, I guess, since they say that it's like weirdly detailed, I was gonna say maybe it's just a parent's intuition, which tends to be pretty strong, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to think that their place is bugged. I don't
Yeah.
want to think
That'd
that
be
they're
wild.
really being creeped on by their parents
Mm,
as adults. I don't know. I don't want to assume that. I don't know how you would check though. Maybe you could
yeah.
call like a, I don't know, Verizon.
My thing is like
What's your data plan?
you could probably explore, I think, two routes. One, you could, for the whole bugging idea, I guess, like just do a deep cleaning of your house and you happen to find like a weird webcam or mic thing going on. You have your answer on that point. I imagine that they're probably tracking them through like their phones, like if
Yeah,
they're still like on that kind of line. So maybe your best bet in this scenario is to, I
get
know
your
it's
own
quite rough, but
phone.
maybe get your own phone line or maybe
Yeah.
try to see if you could turn off those settings if like you go to the Verizon store or something or whatever carrier you have. Regardless, this seems like a conversation that needs to be happen with all the sisters and the parents at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly if you feel like they like your sisters aren't snitching on you, then it seems like this is like a real sit down conversation that is the
Yeah,
only way to solve that.
and
Uh,
it's rough because a lot of parents are not down for those sit down
No,
conversations,
they'll
and
be like, "What are you talking about?"
hopefully they will, but maybe it won't work out. There's always a possibility that something won't work out. I
Yeah.
think I think your theory on the phone line thing is pretty valid just because whoever's the owner or the primary on those
Mhm.
lines, you can pull the text messages from any phone under that line, like
Exactly.
regardless. So I'm assuming if that person and their sister had been communicating about whatever stuff they had been getting into, that's how they were seeing it.
Mhm.
Nonetheless, still creepy, but I think the phones probably should be the first bet because I think that's the easiest way for a parent to kind of stalk their child without it being too tech difficult.
Mhm.
Because let's be real, a lot of our parents don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
A
I
lot
mean,
it takes them a while. Not all of them are bad at technology, but a good amount. So
yeah. I
maybe
mean, a lot of those phones, regardless, like they have like the tracking like things built into them. So it could very much be like, how did she know I was in Vegas? Like, well, she probably has like track my GPS or track my
yeah,
iPhone on whatever.
that's true
And
too.
I think
And
that's probably a easy answer to those ones, I imagine.
yeah, and like some phone carriers have their own like find my phone thing
Yeah.
too. So
So it's
I
not like
think
you're just hidden from like they're probably checking on that stuff.
yeah, you're definitely not off the grid. So I think
No.
that's probably the easiest thing. I think we both agree it's
Yeah.
probably your phone.
It's
And
definitely when in doubt, it's most likely your phone for anything, man.
you know what I think they should do? For like
Hmm.
a week, they should get like a burner phone and just talk to each other on that for
That'd
a
be
while and see if
hilarious.
their
Yeah.
parents don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll probably know because what is that like 20-30 bucks for like a
Yeah.
flip phone or whatever. Like then they'll probably see like okay,
Mm-hmm.
they
How about this
definitely
scenario, Terry? How
oh
about
no.
this?
Oh
What if we
no.
go super petty
Okay.
and they're like, all right, we got a new phone plan. We're good, but let's take our phones right now, go on a random trip, but leave them there and then see what happens.
That's chaotic.
That's
Now
that's
you're like, am I
very
the drama?
toxic. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
went
let me
for
stir the pot.
worst case scenario, how to ruin a family. There we go.
How to ruin a
Let's
family.
go.
Throw your
Leave
phone
one at like
on
an
the other side
adult
of the country.
dancing club, one at like a trap house or something. Like leave them in very precarious situations.
That's honestly, I would say I would advise against it, but I actually kind of love it.
I kind of like it, you know? Get
Yeah,
back at them. Like you want to know all the details about my life? I'll give you some details, man.
that's true.
Yes,
Because
sir.
they did say that when one of the sisters went to Vegas and they found out and they had no
Mm-hmm.
idea. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So
It's just like, why are you in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean? Where
because
are
then
you?
at least you can confront them now and be like, so you are like stalking us. Like now you have the
Ugh.
dialogue where now you caught your parents in the act.
I don't even
Um,
know how they would respond. They
for real,
probably
it's like be like, my bad, y'all.
would be like, they're like,
That was not
no,
my intent.
exactly, right? We're getting gaslight, but Mazel
Mhm.
tov, I guess. I hope
Be
they're
like, I
okay.
wouldn't have to stalk you if you were a good son.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into some stories, Terry. Very
Yay!
quickly. I think it needs to be noted for the people.
Okay.
Terry, you're sounding real crispy today, man. Round of applause for the
Oh,
crispiness.
thank you,
It's
thank you.
truly great. It's like you're right here with us in the studio.
I miss
Uh,
being in that studio,
mhm,
honestly.
mhm.
For our listeners, I'm borrowing my roommate's mic. Shout out to Sophia
You know,
because
Sophia low-key a walking L, bro. I got beef with Sophia.
ah, leave Sophia alone. They're a lifesaver,
I hate Sophia.
and their
Nah, I'm
grandma
kidding.
makes a mean batch of blackberries. Their grandma just gave they just gave me a big thing of blackberries from the garden
Mhm.
and this microphone. Amazing.
Okay. I was about to say, first off,
What
grandma don't got
phone?
no control over the taste of the blackberries, all right? They either grow or they don't.
Ah,
We're not seasoning blackberries.
I mean, you could just like treat them with love and
I want to see what grandma's doing in the kitchen. I want
they
to see what grandma's cooking up in the bakery department. All right.
that's fair. We haven't explored that area yet.
Exactly. I don't know.
But
Like,
that tub of blackberries and this microphone,
nah,
crispy.
Sophia, I was hating on you. I
Crispy.
don't even know you, Sophia, like that. I appreciate what you're doing out here. I appreciate Sophia.
Saluting Sophia out here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
you.
You know what I don't appreciate?
Hmm.
Racist people in costumes of cartoon characters.
Racism.
Hot
Gosh
take.
darn it. Yeah,
No,
it is a hot
low
take
key, I
nowadays.
kind of appreciate. No, I'm kidding. Listen. Sesame Place is a children's amusement park in Philadelphia, and they've issued an apology and an explanation after a video that came out over the weekend of a costume performer ignoring two black children. A video that prompted backlash, suggesting the shunning was racially motivated.
Dun dun.
A parrot on a parrot. A parent on Instagram posted a video with her two daughters that showed the Sesame Street character Rosita walking towards a visibly dismissed girls, leading to confusion and sadness. Further backlash
What?
ensued when singer Kelly Rowland chimed in with frustration. The Destiny's Child member posted on Instagram stories. Okay, so had that been me, that whole parade would have been in flames. Like, are you serious? You're not gonna speak to my child? And do you see that baby's face at the end? The little one with the pink on? She deserves explanation. In the public statement, Sesame Place said the incident was a misunderstanding and that the staff had been in contact with the family to offer an exclusive meet and greet with all the characters at the theme park. Quote, our brand, our brand, our park, and our employees stand for inclusivity and equality in all forms. We do not tolerate any behavior in our parks that is contrary to that commitment. Regarding the incident yesterday, the performer portraying the Rosita character has confirmed that, that the no hand gesture seen several times in that video was not directed to any specific person. Rather, it was the response to multiple requests from someone in the crowd who asked, Terry, you want to take that one? Say the name. Say the name.
Rosita?
There we go. Told their child,
Like what?
which is not permitted. The Rosita performer did not intentionally ignore the girls and was devastated about the misunderstanding and quote, thank you, Sesame Place, for this. We appreciate it.
Racism is alive and well in America, everybody.
Listen,
They're coming for your children now. They're coming.
They're coming for your wow.
The
Racism
children
is
are at
catching all the
risk.
hands. This is insane. Not even like insane or surprising to me. When I first read it, I was like, that's hilarious because like why avoid? And then I saw the video. I was like, oh, that's not funny. It's kind of depressing.
The poor kids. Like,
Yeah,
come
it's like what is it's
on.
like listen, if you're dressed up in a costume of a cartoon character, I better see you talking to every child in there. Now, if there
Yeah.
are some like grown adults being like, take a picture with me, I want a picture, like that, it's like I don't care. Like, like you're too
Yeah.
old for that. These are little kids, man. I don't care what your racial agenda is, all right? You're in a costume of Rosita, and you should take pictures and hold hands, high fives, everybody, man. This is so bizarre to me that like you had that costume on, you saw them, it's like, ugh,
Ye-
black people, ew,
Yeah,
and then walked away.
no.
It's like, come on, man.
Disney, first of all, Disney parks would never.
They've
Disney
had
parks
problems
wouldn't.
that way.
They have?
Yeah, you don't know
No
that?
way.
Yes,
But they're
that's
all
why.
so nice.
I forget which Disney park, but for a while they weren't allowing anyone to like take pictures with like the characters like outside. Like you have to go to like a building to take pictures with them, like in a line, and like you like everyone
Yeah,
waits in line to take a picture with them.
I've been to one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was created because they were having like similar problems to this, where it's like people had their own agenda on who they wanted to take their own pictures with or with not. And then by forcing these people to like wait in line for it, it's like, well, now you have to take pictures with that person kind of deal.
Huh, I didn't know
Um,
that because the usually from face value, the cast members, like I guess because of that system that they implemented, are just so accommodating to every child and making sure that
yeah.
every child has that experience. But now that I know that, well, I guess Disney would. But Rosita, I'm because after this video, another mom with a completely different family posted a video where it happened literally with Rosita again.
Again. See, now that
Again,
person just
twice.
needs to be fired, like straight up.
Yeah.
Like whoever is like in that costume, like fire on sight. Like, no, there's no training that needs to be done. Just get rid of it. Like, we're done here. Like, you're
Yeah,
already a
like
terrible person.
the kids shouldn't have to like suffer because
No,
of
they're a
your
kid,
own.
man.
They're literally like you're here knowing
Yes.
that you're supposed to be a face and a personality for
Mhm.
all children.
Yeah.
Why are kids like? And you can't even say like, oh, that the little no thing that Rosita was doing was towards somebody else. No, Rosita with them big fluffy felt eyes looked those children in the face and said no. You cannot tell
Yeah.
me otherwise. She
Mhm.
looked at them. She did. So I'm just sitting here like, why would you do that and then
Yeah.
hug the next child over like that? That's
Like
so
that's cold,
crazy.
man.
I
That's
would
so
never
cold,
go.
man.
I would never
No.
go ever again. That
Mm-mm-mm.
would ruin Sesame Street like for the rest of my life. And now when they got offered the free meet and greet with all the characters at the theme park and stuff
Yeah.
like that, it is on site, Rosita. Seriously,
Bop, bop, bop.
those two kids,
Mhm.
they're coming back with
Tell
a
'em.
vengeance. I
Yes,
know
sir.
it. I know
They're bringing
gonna be back.
shanks. They're bringing brass knuckles. Rosita's catching these hands. Oh, sorry. Rosita is catching these hands.
And on top of that, they're gonna bring their mother back. And I
Mhm.
know, because I know I would do the same thing. I would be so tight if I had to see that Rosita
For
again.
real.
I would be so mad. I would even go at that point. Like
No.
I'd be like, no.
It's like, listen, we ain't doing this, bro. I'm not gonna.
Exactly,
We're good.
absolutely not. Because that's
Yeah.
unacceptable. That and this statement isn't even good enough.
That's like
to-
such a nothing statement. Like,
It-
I hate it. Like,
so many words to say absolutely nothing.
yeah, just be like, just all the statement needs to be, we talked to the performer in the costume. We've decided to part ways. That is not what we accept here at Sesame Place. That's all you have to say. It's not,
Exactly.
like extra thing. You know what I was thinking of though when I first heard about this story? Is like, especially now this week, like where everyone is like aware that it's very hot outside. Could you
Mhm.
imagine being in that costume?
Oof, no.
Like, imagine like first off, like the amount of sweat, but then the smell.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
The only time I've come like semi close to that is like in high school when our eagle costume, the head was like over there and people were like, I dare you. And like they were like they were holding it up. So I was like, okay, it's
You
foul.
put the eagle costume on.
I didn't put it on, but I did go quite close to it, and I didn't have to get that close to it to know that it was foul in there.
Ooh,
It smells like
ew.
feet and sweat and dirt. So
Some people are into that. Don't
I
you
didn't even
to
have to literally, it was like 2 inches away, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. So I don't presume that a bigger, feltier, thicker costume would be any less disgusting.
Ugh.
Especially think about the ones at Disney too, because those are like really elaborate and have a lot of
Yeah.
parts to it too. Oh my God. I saw a video of, I think it was Disney China, or it was Disney, but in another country for sure. And a cast member who was in like a big mouse costume like collapsed from the heat in the middle of the parade.
I'm not surprised. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they had to like obviously pick the person up and kind of like go, but you also have to keep the head on until you have to keep the head on until you get away from the public, because they don't want to break the quote unquote break the magic or whatever. But I would be
Dude, I would break the magic instantly, man.
Oh
like,
my God.
Helmet off. I'm getting water. It's like, bro, if I'm signing up for this,
yeah,
I'm making sure I'm alive.
Like,
I'm not gonna die for Disney.
Seriously, I'm sorry. If I have to ruin a kid's day for that, I'm not ruining a kid's day for racism, but I will ruin a kid's day to live and breathe fresh air if I am sitting there.
Terry,
What?
like, if it was my last day at Disney and I was like in one of those costumes,
What?
I would ruin a lot of children's days. Like, as I'm taking a picture, I'm just like, surprise, man! I'm not real.
You're in the Mickey costume. You start doing your Mickey voice.
Yeah,
just like,
I'm like, nice to see you, Tim.
Nice to see you, Tim.
You didn't think I'd talk like this, huh?
You didn't think you think I was about it?
Yeah, take off the helmet. It's like, I'm gonna eat this churro in front of you. How about that?
Overpriced
I'm
churro.
on break.
Mickey eating like a Mickey popsicle or something.
Whoa, that's cannibalism.
Yeah,
I would definitely do that.
That'd be.
Ooh, that's a power move.
Yeah.
You ever had those icicles though? The cartoon icicle things?
Oh yes, those. Yeah.
Those never look like the picture.
Oh no, of course not.
It's like,
you think they do? I always get the SpongeBob one, and I'm like, this isn't SpongeBob.
Like, this is just a yellow brick with like
seriously,
a random pink.
And like 2 eyeballs, but they eyeballed the other one's like in its stomach.
It's like,
yeah, I could see. I'm like, okay, let me just.
That's crazy, man.
Finish
Sonic
this
ones
off.
are always hilarious. Like, all the ones are hilarious, man.
I like the SpongeBob ones because I like the taste of that one better. I also like the Powerpuff Girl one. That one is.
Oh, they got a reboot coming up.
Really?
Again? Yeah.
How many times are they gonna reboot that? I feel like if it didn't stick.
I mean, you know, that's.
Can we think of something else, everybody?
Nah.
Could we do something else? I feel like if you try to reboot something a couple of times and it's not sticking, it's probably not going to stick again.
Yeah.
We
should do a reboot of the Morning Buzz. Let's call it like the Morning Buzz rebooted.
I think maybe those happen on Fridays.
Yeah, you're right.
Kinda.
Like, hey, let's get to one more story though, because this one, it's definitely interesting.
Which one are we taking? I want to take one.
You could take it. Let's do the sheep one.
Ooh. Y'all, did you know sheep can get arrested?
Word?
Yeah, I guess so. A sheep was arrested and sentenced to 3 years in prison after killing a woman in Africa. He was about it. Or she. Or they. The sheep was arrested in South Sudan earlier this month after attacking a woman who later died from her injuries. Police Chief Major Elijah Maybord said, quote, "The ram attacked by hitting her ribs and the old woman died immediately. Our role as police is to provide safety in separate fights. The ram was apprehended and is currently under custody at the police station," end quote. The animal was apprehended and taken to a local jail where it was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 3 years in a military camp. Maber also added, quote, "The owner is innocent and the ram is the one who perpetrated the crime, so it deserves to be arrested, and then later on the case shall be forwarded to customary court where the case can be handled amicably," end quote. The local court has also ruled that the owner of the sheep has to pay the victim's family 5 cows as compensation. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we have to say today what a time to be alive, but this truly is a time to be alive, where we can hold sheep accountable.
It's about time that sheep can finally be prosecuted with justice, all right? For too long,
Freedom's on the horizon.
have been running around this world as if they run the place, all right? With no repercussions. And
None.
finally, in a groundbreaking case, this sheep gets justice. Thank you very
Amen.
much.
I think I'm
About
getting
time.
emotional.
You're
Oh
a
my
90.3
God.
WNC Upper Montclair.
It's the 3 years in a military camp for me. Like, what are they
Yeah.
gonna have the sheep
It's-
doing?
Does the sheep even know he killed somebody? Like,
Does the sheep know?
how do you my thing is like, did the sheep pull up with like a lawyer to the court?
Seriously.
He's like, has the tie on. He's like, everyone, I feel like I would like to apologize for what went down in the fields 2
I
months
know.
ago.
Everyone, I know I did a bad thing, but I didn't mean.
Oh my
I'm so
God.
sorry.
Terry, no.
I'm so
Terry,
sorry.
no.
No, it's good. Come on.
No, it's
Yeah. That was really good. And I'm gonna own that.
I think that is the best way to close out the show. I don't know how else to add on to that. Terry, it's been a fun ride. It's been a great one. As always, to you hooligans listening on to the Morning Buzz, we'll see you next Thursday, same time, same place. As for tomorrow, you'll hear a highlight show of all the best things you heard this week. And Monday, you'll be back with Lara and the crew. Regardless, we hope you enjoy your Thursday, live life to the fullest, and remember, sheeps can be prosecuted. Goodbye.
You're listening to 90.3 WMS.
Yo, you got that water?
We're still live on Facebook.
Yo, you got that.
I got a current today.